Welcome back, everybody, and thank you for tuning in to the Coaching Space podcast with me, Justin Bodel, a place where I look at the people side of performance. My guest today is a dynamic and purpose-driven young woman, Joanna Maingard. Jo is a qualified industrial psychologist, and she works in the corporate space as a talent specialist. As someone who's really passionate about holistic well-being, it's no surprise that she heads up the wellness portfolio at her company. And she also followed another passion of hers, which is running, and in fact set up the running club at her company as well. Jo is an avid runner. She is an adventurer. And at this time last year, she had set herself the pretty ambitious goal of running 8 marathons in 8 different countries around the world, all in the name of charity. Unfortunately, COVID put a halt to those plans, but we still chat about that crazy adventure that she set for herself, what inspired her to do it, and what she still managed to achieve, even with the COVID limitations. We talk about the role of purpose in anyone's life. We talk about the role of the mental game and how that plays a part in the challenges that she sets for herself. We talk about the importance of holistic well-being, particularly mental well-being. And Jo gives us her definition of performance. It's a really inspiring, very honest, very open chat around some really exciting and really incredible areas of human performance. And I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I hope that you will as well. Well, good morning, Jo. Thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Morning, Jess. So happy to be here.
Yeah, and honestly, I think it's actually quite fitting that we're in the month of March 2021, because if I'm correct in saying, literally a year ago, maybe to the day, you were pretty much about to embark on this incredible adventure to go and run 8 marathons in 8 different countries around the world. Obviously, COVID hit and has put a pause to that for now.
Yeah.
Let's rewind the clock to that time a year ago, pretty much to this time. What actually inspired that challenge, Jo? What made you want to go and do this incredible feat?
So just for me, I've always in my life wanted to push boundaries and kind of set really high goals for myself and then just keep achieving. So I had done the Sani Stagger Marathon, I had done some marathons, and I was just addicted to running. And I was addicted to running, but also running and giving back. So when you run, you've got to have that internal drive that gets you going, you've got to have that strong mind. But you've also, for me, when I run for something bigger than myself, it just carries me those extra kilometers. So I was thinking of my passion for running, my passion for inspiring others, and then obviously giving back as well. And I thought, well, what is the most incredible thing that I could do that I could raise a lot of funds for charity? And I thought, well, something insane would be like 8 marathons in 8 countries, right? In 3 months. If I would donate to that. So then and my love for traveling. So I wanted to travel the world, and I wanted to meet people through running, and I wanted to share my story of giving back, inspiring through running. And I thought, well, what a way to do it. And that's kind of where it started.
Where it all started. Unbelievable. And I mean, actually, despite COVID having hit, and obviously you weren't able to get on a plane and head to those countries, you've still actually managed to complete some of those marathons here, right? You actually sort of ran them officially, sort of independently here in South Africa, and one of which I can't remember which one. You can remind me now, but it was actually during our sort of COVID lockdown here in South Africa. You actually weren't allowed to leave your property, and so you decided to run the marathon by running laps around your house, and you filmed, actually, you sort of went on Instagram and you actually filmed sort of the ending of that race, and I tuned in, and it was an incredible, but it was quite an emotional end to that race. Tell me a little bit about that one and what you learned from that experience.
Yeah, so it was the London Marathon. Me and my aunt were meant to run it together. We both got charity entries into the London Marathon. I was doing it for rhinos. It was the only one I could get into, but I'm also passionate about wildlife, so that fit perfectly. And I was doing it for my cousin Jenna's creche. And then my aunt got in for the Lung Foundation, which suited my cousin's kind of story. So we were like, great, running together, going to meet in the UK and run this for my cousin. And then obviously COVID hit, and we thought, well, stuff it, we're going to do it anyway, but we're not going to let this lockdown stop us. So decided to do it in my garden, in my Mount Edgecombe property, which is about 150 meters. I set up a little water station, made myself feel like it was a race. I got all my runners from my running club to commit to a certain distance as well. So they were doing 5Ks, 10Ks, 21Ks in their garden.
Amazing.
Which was so inspiring because my watch kept going off and going, done my 10, like go Joe kind of thing. So it was so inspiring, and it took me about 6 hours. But as I was running, I just could not believe that I could do this. You know your mind's, you know the ability of your mind, but when you do something that, I mean, I don't even know how many times I ran around, but it's not normal. And I realized that it wasn't just my mind, it was this, that I was running it for Jenna, that got me all those times around and around. So towards the end, I was going live on Instagram and I was going, okay guys, like 10Ks in, so many more to go. And then in the last kind of bit, I just got so emotional because I was like, I can't believe I've done this. I can't believe I can't do it with my aunt in the UK. Then I'm living up the grief of my cousin's loss, because, when you're running and those endorphins are pumping, you just feel all these emotions. And I just thought, my cousin would be so proud. My aunt's running with me now. Like, all these people are running and I'm raising money, and all the funds were coming through my watch as well. So it was like, someone's donated to your creche. So I thought, oh my goodness, people are donating. Like, just kept me going. And then that last bit, I couldn't even feel the pain because I was just running on this high of, my cousin's going to be so proud. Like, I've done this for my family. I've raised funds, and hopefully I've proven to others that you can do so much more than you think you can do.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I can tell you, my wife and I are both sitting watching. We had tears in our eyes. We were like just watching this inspiring feat, because there was a point where you literally said, like, guys, you're so much stronger than you think. Like, you can do anything you set your mind to. And it was incredibly inspiring to watch in such a difficult time, you to do something that was pretty incredible, and a bit insane, as you said, running laps. I don't know how many it was in total, but
I don't know, and I was just crying. I'm like on Instagram, I'm like, I'm so happy, like I'm so happy. And you guys can do anything, but I'm so happy. And the tears coming down. I thought I wasn't going to go live because I thought, oh, like people are going to see this vulnerable side of me. But I was like, actually, this is what it takes to achieve extraordinary things, and it's not easy. So let people see you cry, let people see your vulnerability 100%. And the strength as well. We see vulnerability as weakness. It's such a strength. So I wanted people to see that as well.
Absolutely. And well said. Absolutely. You've touched on this idea already, but it seems as though you often run or set yourself challenges that are sort of tied to a certain cause. It's often about raising money for a charity, or, like you said, in memory of your cousin. How important is this idea of purpose, and how important is that link between purpose and performance for you?
It's crucial. I think without a purpose, I don't think you can achieve anything meaningful in life without a purpose. Because at the end of the day, what are you doing it for? Why are you getting up in the morning? Whether it's running or any aspect of my life, if there's no purpose, that end goal is meaningless. You've done that, but then what? For who? For what? For me? That gets you to a point. That selfish achieving of goals gets you to a point, but only in my mind you achieve through true greatness by doing something for a reason and having a meaning of doing something. And also, it keeps you humble, keeps you dedicated, focused, but also I think you can be so much more successful. So besides the other elements of it, you can be so much more successful when you're doing something for a purpose. So I would say, it's success and purpose. It's, for me, you can't have success without purpose. And there's so many examples of that, of people who go above and beyond, but there's a reason for them doing it. It's either a childhood dream that they've had, they want to change the world, and they go and they do it. It's not, people dream these things, and it doesn't just realize it's hard work, but it's also doing it for this greater purpose that we all have deep within us.
Absolutely. And like you said, it's a wonderful motivator, particularly in and you're having to dig deep, you can kind of reconnect that purpose, like you were saying, seeing people, donating to charity or, whatever it is. It just helps to fuel you in those moments when you actually think that you can't go further, and suddenly you get that bit of energy.
Yeah, I think it is. It's like coming to that crossroads where you're like, should I go on, whatever it is in your life, like if there's nothing that is driving you, then you are going to fall flat, and you may as well quit halfway, because why are you doing it, or what is going to push you to make it even better? You might just meet the status quo, but if you've driven by purpose, it's like, that's not good enough. It needs to be better because I'm doing it for a reason. So then that's when it becomes something, it's a masterpiece. It's an incredible thing you're doing because it's got this purpose behind it.
Yeah, amazing. And Jo, you've touched on it a little bit already, but how important is the mental aspect to what you do? I mean, you clearly someone who has high expectations. You set yourself these high goals. You push yourself to grow and to push yourself out of your comfort zone as well. You're continually finding ways to kind of push yourself. How important is the mental side to what you do?
Yeah, just that also the mental game is so important. And when I talk about holistic well-being, we everyone knows physical health. Everyone knows what it means to be physically healthy.
Yeah.
And we don't talk about mental health. So, just like physical health, you have to work on your mental game.
Yeah.
You need to every day work on building that resilience when it comes to the mind. So when you get to a mountaintop in your life, what resources do you have to keep carrying you up? If you don't have that in you, you're going to give up halfway through the mountain, you're halfway up the mountain. So it's pulling on those reserves. It's bringing in mindfulness, or, positive self-talk, or, all those things that you've learned in your life. At 21 Ks, I can't do this, I'm going to stop running. No, Jo, you can do this. You've done this before. Like, that positive self-talk and that mind is so important. And you don't work on your mindset when something bad happens, or you like, I need to learn how to cope because I've lost someone. It's so crucial to work on your mindset throughout your life, so that whatever comes your way, you are equipped to cope with that. So when you get to the race, it's not just the race, it's all the pre-work you've done. In terms of physical, it's all the miles you've run before. In terms of your mind, it's all those training sessions at 5 a.m. when you were like, I'm not going to get up, I'm tired, and you pushed through. And all that comes into the race day, just like in your life, it all culminates into that big thing that happens. And are you prepared for it?
Absolutely. I love that idea of almost, like you say, kind of practicing like your mind is a muscle. It's like you're sort of equipping it, and so often exactly that. I think people, when they've sort of hit a point where they feel they can't go on, or they now really need to turn to someone to help, then they sort of say, okay, now I need to sort of appreciate my mental health or my emotional state. But actually, like you say, it should be sort of part of our daily existence, so that it's normal, and we're actually equipping ourselves in the good times for the bad times.
Yeah, and if COVID's taught us anything, it's that we have to take our mind seriously. The things that people have achieved during lockdown. I mean, we are amazing humans. We can do so much. We are in our own way. I often say to people, step out of your own way, because your mind, I think we definitely don't use it enough, but it's so powerful. And the thoughts that you tell yourself, they can either service you or harm you. So are they promoting you or harming you? That is, every thought that you have either serves you or doesn't. So it's also thinking, it's so important to have control of your mind. If you can control your mind, you will unlock I believe greatness, because that is something we're not aware of the power of it. And I think people who have a good I don't know what the word is, but a good control over their mind, those are the ones who take things to the next level.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, it's something, I obviously work in the space a little bit, and I've seen the benefit even just of getting people to be more aware of it, just in itself, to understand that their behavior is driven by their thoughts and their actions. So actually that link between head and heart, I suppose. That it's not just kind of random acts, and that if they're trying to change behavior, actually sort of get to the root cause and understand what am I thinking and feeling, and how is that driving my behavior. Yeah, you're so right, and just that awareness in itself can just help people to pause in moments where they maybe haven't really questioned their behavior before, or their actions or their level of performance, and gone like, actually, what am I thinking and feeling about this? Is there something different? And how could I sort of change the outcome accordingly? So yeah.
No, it's hard work though, that's why people don't do it, is because it's not easy. And as soon as you start tracking your thoughts, you realize how much negative thoughts you might have about yourself, or past failures in your life. They keep rearing their ugly heads because it's that you could fail, and those thoughts just, as soon as you dig deep, it's hard work. So it's scary, but in doing that hard work and understanding my behavior is actually because of those thoughts that I have about myself, and therefore my emotions are sabotaging me because of those thoughts. But it's tough, it's hard work, and that's why people are, let me just try and change behavior, but I'm not going to think about this side. I'm just going to work on my behavior, which is never long lasting. So it's never going to work.
Exactly. It's such a good point. I know that we've spoken a little bit about it now. I know that you obviously, you really believe in this idea of holistic well-being. And it's not just something that you preach, you're actively practicing and exploring and growing and kind of really wanting to understand that and to kind of bring that into your own life authentically. I know that it's obviously something that you're very involved with in terms of your work as well. How important is it for people, whether they're in corporate or sports teams or whatever, to really create space for people to grow awareness around mental health, around emotional health, spiritual health, and to give people tools to be able to grow some of those areas, so that we're not always just focusing on the tactical, behavioral, action stuff.
This is something that I often reflect on a lot, because like you said, I do it at work. At the end of the day, we are human beings, not human doings. So as a human, we have needs, and as a human, we have to look at wellness as being holistic. So if all those elements, spiritual, financial, physical, mental, if those are not doing okay in plain terms, then we're not going to be okay, and we're not going to be functioning at our best. So I always talk about a business case for wellness. There's a business case, because if you're performing, you can only perform at your best if all those pieces are doing okay. So therefore we need to target intervention at all those pieces. But as a human, and at a human level, we can understand that if someone is not know who they are. And when we talk spiritual wellness, it's not talking about religion necessarily. It's just talking about having a purpose. So if you don't have a purpose, and we've spoken about purpose, is there going to be meaning in what you do? So as a business, or in a team, in a sporting team, if you don't know why you're here, if you don't know what you're doing every day to add value, you can understand how that's going to directly affect your performance on the soccer field, on the rugby field, at your office. It's so obvious, the link, when we break it down. Same as your mental health. We've spoken about, if you're not, if you're stressed out, if you've got negative self-talk as part of your daily routine, if you feel you might be experiencing depression, anxiety, if you've got all those, if you've got poor mental health, how are you supposed to be at your best, 100% engaged, focused, committed, showing up, presenteeism, all those things? So in all the different aspects of health, we can't, as a company, as a coach, even as a friend, expect someone to be their best self without providing them with resources and saying, okay, did you know yoga is great and scientifically proven to benefit your mental health and your physical health? Bringing in meditation before you're going on a rugby field. Guys, let's just take 5 minutes to do deep breathing, realize why you're here, channeling into your purpose, go on the field and perform. But for some reason, we think these things are like, meditation as a Buddha sitting on top of a mountain chanting but it's actually crucial to success. So you know, if you need any reason of why we should focus on this, go do some research into the scientific benefits, but on a human level. And we can reflect inwards when we know something's out of alignment in our life. We know how that affects us. So
absolutely.
If we can look inwards, then we can actually look outwards and say, hey, if my team does not have these elements, or I have not provided resources for my team, I can't actually what's the word? I can't assume that they're going to be productive because what am I doing to support them? And I also speak a lot about owning your health. So a company, a coach, whoever you are, is providing resources. If you don't understand the benefit of holistic well-being in your life, you can't force anyone to engage in resources. You can't force anyone to go for a walk as it benefits their mental health, or to practice yoga, or to do meditation, or to self-reflect. You can't force anyone. So my biggest message with wellness is that you have to own your own wellness. You can provide people with tools, resources, education, awareness, but if they don't take that on in their heart, it will fall flat. And that's the unfortunate thing when it comes to wellness. But also, I think the opportunity is for people to understand the benefit.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. You know, but like you said, I think if you've got leaders of teams taking, sort of creating that space and creating the awareness and setting the example, I think people start to follow, because they feel like it's a safe space. It's something that they can try, something that they can feel free to talk about, take advantage of the opportunities, etc. So I suppose it's setting the example. Hey.
And creating that psychological safety within a team to explore these different wellness themes.
So on that, what are some of the things what are some of the sort of techniques, or the sort of practices that have made a difference for you? Are there any things that you've tried, or something that you didn't do before, or something that you're doing now that you're finding is really benefiting your kind of holistic state of being?
Yeah, so I've started, there's a few things. So I've started listening to podcasts. Robin Sharma is like my life coach. I love listening to him, especially, you know, I often try and get out and just walk. I am a runner, but I find that staying busy is actually a defense mechanism, and I need to be able to be comfortable in silence. So going for a walk and listening to Robin Sharma, and then, you know, his podcasts are like 8 minutes. So then for the rest of the 40 minutes, I'm in silence reflecting. So podcasts has been a big one. Switching off from technology before bed and not going on my phone first thing in the morning is a huge game changer with sleep. And, you know, when you wake up in the morning, that's when your brain is absorbing information at its fullest. So you're flooding it with social media, and you're expecting it to perform at its best for the rest of the day. It's not going to happen. So the technology piece is huge. Meditation. So more for me is the breathing. So I go to yoga, and part of the yoga, it focuses a lot on the breathing technique. So learning about, you know, deep breathing, realizing the breath breathes you, and bringing that calm has helped me a lot. Seeing a psychologist has helped me a lot. I always tell people, you don't have to see a psychologist if someone passes away, or if something is stressful in your life. It's again that building up the resources and the coping mechanisms, so that when something happens, you've got these techniques in place. So my psychologist makes a huge difference, and I encourage everyone, you know, either a life coach or psychologist to help you navigate life. I would also say spending time with friends, and especially during COVID, what we've gone through is social isolation, which with new research coming out is actually, it's very bad for our mental health. We're currently in a mental health crisis, and the research coming out is that social isolation means we actually need to actively try and spend more time with people. So it's draining maybe for you more than, I mean, for me now, I'm an extrovert, but spending time with people, I actually feel anxious because I don't know how to behave anymore. I'm so used to myself and one person or three. So I'm actively trying to build that sense of community, because I know it's good for my mental health. So whether it's a Zoom catch up with friends, having lunch with my coworkers instead of sitting in front of Netflix, if I'm, you know, because I'm working from home. So for me, it's actively trying to make sure I'm not losing touch with people, because I know that's good for my mental health.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's yoga is also my one thing that I do 4 times a week, and running obviously, but yoga is the one thing that I can say has been a game changer for my mind. It's taught me to pause before responding, and it's taught me about control and the power of the mind and the strength of my mind.
Wow, I love that. And a good cup of coffee or tea can also always part of good routine. All right, Joe, listen, I've kept you long enough, so let me put you on the spot with one last question. What is your definition of performance?
So my definition of performance would be achieving the goal you have set with having a purpose behind it. So I don't have a formal definition, because
that's cool.
I'm not someone who has but I would say performance is achieving the goals that you set out with a purpose at the best level that you can. So,
love that.
when we slow it down, or when we cut it down to perform and what it means to perform, whether it's on soccer field, rugby field, at work, in a race, performance means achieving that goal that you set with a purpose behind it, but at the best level that you can, which means you have to be at the best level that you can be, which means all these things behind it means that you have to perform at your best. You have to be and you are a holistic human. So all those elements of wellness are at an equilibrium, so I can perform at my best, at the best level, with a meaning behind it.
Love that. That's such an awesome definition. I love that connection of all the things that you've spoken about, and it's so cool how, like, it's, for you, it's, again, it's not something you're talking about, it's like I can see that you live, and it's just amazing to have all of those things in alignment, and to have that sense of purpose and to perform at your best level, and then people, or whatever, in whatever sphere it is, that's about a level of, like you said, kind of performance, but also happiness for people, I think. It's
and that satisfaction that I've done all that I can, because I've done all this inner work on my mind, my heart, my soul, my entire body. I've done all this work to get me to perform. So performance is never one snapshot in time. It's years in the making. Sometimes it's all those hours of work and getting my mindset right. So I know that when I come to the soccer field, that I know my legs will remember, but my body and my soul and my heart and my mind knows that I can do this. So performance is never just this one snapshot in time. It's all that work you've done behind the scenes to get you to that field, to achieving that goal, to that end point.
Amazing. Joe, I know I said that was my last question, but just one more. Are there any new challenges that you're setting for yourself? Is your plan, when COVID eventually is we back to normal life, are you still wanting to run 8 marathons in 8 different countries? What's next on the bucket list for you?
So definitely want to go when I can, but I know I can't travel how I would like to. So I won't be able to easily go into different countries within the next, I think, year and a half. So the London Marathon is set for October this year. I'm hoping to go and run it with my aunt. But I am planning a 100-kilometer race in the next 3 months.
Wow.
So I'm getting my mindset right for that, because it's not so much my body. I know my body will just do it, but it's getting my mind right, and it's obviously more than comrades. So that's my next challenge, and I'm working very hard on my mind and my body to be ready to take that on. So hopefully May, June, I will have completed a 100-kilometer run.
Sure. Well, listen, we wish you all the best for that. And Joe, listen, thank you so much for your time. It was very cool. Just thank you for sharing so honestly and so authentically. I think there's some some amazing nuggets of information there. I really loved hearing it, and I love following your journey. Where and how can people follow you if they want to follow your journeys and all your crazy adventures?
I feel like I have to commit to these things I've said now, otherwise
you've said it now, people are going to be tuning in.
So I think best is on Instagram, at whorunstheworld_Joe. I post a lot about mental health there, and my journey of running. So I think that would be the best place to find me.
Awesome, Joe, thank you so much again for your time, and we'll chat soon.
Pleasure, Josh. Thanks so much for having me. It's been great to connect.
Cool. Awesome. Cheers, eh?